I was having a conversation with somebody earlier today about my journey into coaching. And when I have these conversations with people, I get so exhilarated because I think I really take for granted, or I just really forget how incredibly hard it's been to get to where I am now, and just how incredibly grateful I am for the life that I've got now, and just how happy I am to be able to help people doing something that I just really, really love. I started off, if you don't know, started off at the age of 22 working in a family centre, local authority, children and families, social services, and worked through to becoming a social worker, and had like various different jobs within that local authority setting, and it was an amazing job. It was great. I never really felt it was my passion, to be honest with you. Lots of paperwork, really not very good at paperwork. You know, I'm very grateful for it. I'm grateful for the opportunities that I had. But one of the things that I really learned along that way was the intricacies of family life, and how family life, obviously being in social work, it's not all roses, how that can be so damaging when it doesn't work. And not only can it be damaging, but also crucially how these patterns replay and continue throughout the generations. The patterns repeat, and so it's very difficult then to break that mold if you are part of that cycle. So I learned that, and I learned lots and lots of different things, and I had loads of great training opportunities. And then I wanted to learn more about attachment. I've always absolutely loved attachment theory, and I trained to be an attachment-based counsellor while I was still practicing social work, and that was absolutely fantastic. And that's very much about the primary caregiver, usually the mother, not always, primary caregiver bond, and how that early experience with your primary caregiver informs then your later resilience and your later relationships, and how you cope with relationships, and how you cope with stress. Fascinating stuff, absolutely fascinating stuff. Love all of that completely. Went self-employed, gave up my social work career, ended up then doing a lot of work in the evenings and weekends, because that was when my clients then wanted me to be around for them, because that was when they were free, in the evenings from work. And that took me away then from my family, which was not what I wanted, not how I wanted it to be. So even though my counselling practice at the time was very successful, and it was successful really quickly, I was very lucky, it by design, it wasn't working for me. And so, and I was training with Relate to be a relationship counsellor at that time as well, because I love the couple work, and I'm fascinated by that dynamic, and I just really, really, really enjoyed it. So I trained with Relate because Relate are the best, and that was who I wanted. That was, a direction that I thought I wanted to go down. But then, this thing about I wanted to be with my babies. Like, obviously I wanted to be with my babies, and my babies were babies at the time. And so I knew that I needed to do something different, and I was considering coaching, and then stars aligned for me once I started to ask myself and the universe what I needed, how I needed it to be, and what I needed to do next. The pattern that I noticed in my clients was that the majority of my clients, not all obviously, had early childhood difficulties, my female clients and my male clients as well, actually, to be fair. But I specialise in working with women. That's the only reason why I make that distinction. Early childhood difficulties, which then, even though they go on to then be successful, academic, high-functioning business owners, accountants, solicitors, whatever, fundamentally, those childhood scars haven't healed. Those bruises are still tender to touch. And so going into adult life, going into adult relationships, going into love partnerships, it becomes very difficult, because then when it's fine when it's going well, but then when it's not going well, it becomes toxic. And then as parents, then it's about what our children are learning from us, and how they then, the cycle then repeats, right? This is where the social work comes into it, and it's just so fascinating. All of the work that I've ever done over the last 20 years is absolutely, the problems that come up for families come up regardless of your background, your culture, your socioeconomic position, your education. It makes absolutely no difference. These patterns of behaviour happen regardless of who you are, regardless of who you are. So these cycles that we go through, if we don't mend them and if we don't heal them, carry on to our children, because that's how it goes. That's why it's so important to be aware of these things and to give yourself the time and the space to heal, because if you don't heal it, then however strong you are in your mind in thinking that you're not going to pass that down, you will pass it down. You'll pass it down in a different way. You'll make it your own, but you will end up passing it down. So that is then how I came into coaching. And coaching for me became just an absolutely perfect combination of 20 years of experience. And so even though it feels to me like this has all happened relatively quickly, the reality is that it's taken me 20 years. I'm 42 now, so 20 years to get to here. And I have to pinch myself because I love it so much. I think I've got the best job in the world. So there you go. That was what, as I said, this conversation with this lady earlier today just made me just think, I need to share that so that people know a little bit more about how I got to where I am, and that, these situations apply to everybody. And there is always an opportunity to change the ending of your story. There's always an opportunity to change the ending of the story. So if you would like to change the ending of your story, please do get in touch. There's a couple of ways that I can help you now. I've got one-to-one coaching package, and I've got my group coaching package, which I'm happy to give you information on as well if you would like to find out more about it. So send me a message or comment in the box below, and let's talk. Okay? All right. Have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.